All right, so we're doing a different one tonight. I've been trying to get more content on the Honda because that's what people are interested in, and that's what basically got me jumped over from Instagram to trying to do something with YouTube. But motorcycles always have and always will be a massive part of my life. And this one here, well, this is probably the most sentimental motorcycle I've got. This is my 1988 Harley-Davidson FXR. I have done a ridiculous amount of work to this bike over the years, but also this bike, you don't say. But anyhow, this bike over the years, when I say I have ridden to hell and back on this thing, I really have. This was the first Harley I was able to buy with my own money that I made working my ass off, doing my normal 9 to 5. It's been through 2 engines now. I have suspension, wheels, tires, brakes, motor work, transmission work, belt drive. You name it, this thing's got it pretty much done to it, just to make it a bomb-proof little ripper. But yeah, like I said, I mean, I've been to hell and back on this thing. It's seen me through some of the best times of my life and some of the worst times of my life. It's seen, promising relationships and girlfriends and fiancés turning into ex-fiancés, and I was on this thing the entire time going through court proceedings, unfortunately, which at one point I was pretty convinced I was going to spend the next 27 years in prison, which that's a story for another day. But anyhow, this bike has got me through all of it. For a good example on this one is, well, my dad. He went through one of the ugliest divorces, which, I mean, there's no such thing as a clean, good divorce, I don't think. All of its pain and suffering, and it sucks, and it's horrible. And, it's a shit show all the way around. Anyways, my dad's was no exception to the matter. But when going through all this crap, and my mom had taken off, me and my dad, I can just remember so many nights we spent out in the shop building something badass. And it wasn't till later on in life that I had realized my dad wasn't just teaching me how to build these things and how to fabricate and, developing the sense for badass old bikes. It was really more of he was teaching me how to deal with life. And that's where I came up with the name for the channel of Hard Luck Garage, because, when you're on hard luck, man, the garage is that's the place to go. That's, if I'm going to be up all night and I can't sleep because of whatever my woes may be, well, I might as well be out in the garage building something to be proud of. Let me repurpose this energy that's keeping me up and hurting me into something I can be proud of, something cool. And by the end of the night, hey, it may change my perspective, make me feel a little bit better about what's going on. So that is how this thing has came to be. A lot of my friends and stuff that know me, I always tell them, if they're asking, what's going on, how you been, the best way to gauge how my life is going, what do my toys look like? Because if they start getting really badass really fast, that's kind of an indicator that all is not well in the kingdom, and I'm spending a lot more time building because that's my escape. Everybody has their vices in life. For me, it's building cool stuff. Maybe, will it be the most practical thing that everybody likes? Probably not. But I enjoy doing it. It's fun. It's something for me, and it's not for everybody, and that's perfectly fine. That's the big thing I'm trying to kind of push with people, is to inspire people of like, dude, don't care about what other people think, what they say. Does it make you happy? Is this, you build for you, not for everybody else. Otherwise, every Honda guy would have an all-wheel drive boosted K-Series EG that makes 1,000 horsepower with weld racing wheels and all the carbon fiber stuff, and they would all be exactly the same. Every muscle car guy, nope, it's got to be a freaking supercharged Coyote Mustang, big old wrinkle wall slicks, 1,200 horsepower, gets down the drag strip in like 8 seconds flat. That's what everybody would have. It'd be all the same. There's no difference. There's no diversity. No, I always came up with the idea of customizing stuff was always supposed to be an extension of self, personality. Build it for you. I mean, you look around here, all these motorcycles are wildly different. This one here has got this old school kind of Bonneville bobber sort of look going on here. You've got my bike, which is, your typical club bike. Then I got this one over here I'm building for a friend of mine, which is this old school little bar hopper, which this thing, I can't wait to get this done. This is going to be a cool little bike. That thing's going to haul ass because it weighs nothing. But you fast forward over here, Peter Fonda style Captain America chopper. Shiny, clean, kick-ass bike. Another one here, it's wildly custom. This one's got hydraulic clutch and everything on it too. Kickstart only, magneto bike, dual discs. This one here is actually kind of special because I did some custom machining here. These are narrow glide triple trees with Harley wide glide fork tubes. So what I did was I machined a custom billet slug to go in the top up here to adapt it, and then opened up the hole down here at the bottom for these, and it all slid together. And the narrow glide axle, I even worked with it too. It all lined right up. So very easy swap. I mean, aside from machining. But if you have the ability to do that, the rest of it's easy. And you get over here. This thing here, I'm not joking, a straight up drag bike engine that's in this bike. This was, my dad used to drag race in the AHRA. And after him and my mom had me, he couldn't keep drag racing. So instead of letting this motor go to waste, he stuck it in a swing arm frame and just started riding it on the road. This thing's insane. It is this is probably one of the fastest panheads around, and it's just hanging out in the garage here. It's ridiculous. I think the last time this thing went down the strip in this configuration, suicide shift, swing arm frame, struggling to put the power to the ground because it was just trying to spin the back tire. I think it got down the quarter mile in 11 flat. Yeah, this thing's a freaking beast, especially for the road and to be a panhead. But there's very little panhead left about it other than the shape of the engine cases, but still, kick-ass bike. Then we get over here. This was my dad's first panhead. This one's a 1957, but super clean. I think it's a 32 Ford taillight that's molded into the back fender. Just badass bike. But nonetheless, it's all about, what's your flavor? What are you building? What's for you? So, anyhow, now that I'm done ranting and rambling about motorcycles, back to the FXR. Tonight's goal here is to blow this whole thing apart, and I got to get all the tins off of it because I don't ride this thing every day. This is no longer my warhorse, so to speak. So it's getting taken better care of. It's getting cleaned up, and it's staying clean. And finally, I can actually justify putting a really nice paint job on this bike because it's not going to get beat up. So it's getting a kick-ass paint job on it pretty much this week. But I do need to get all the body work off of this thing and get the vinyl stickers and stuff off and kind of get it stripped down and ready so that the guy that's going to paint it actually has something to work with. So yeah, I'm going to set the camera up, get some tools, and start kind of doing a walkthrough. And if you haven't seen how a Harley-Davidson FXR comes apart, well, it's incredibly easy, and you're about to see. Okay, I'm going to start with the easiest, quickest thing. Pull these signature side covers off of it. These are just wrapped in vinyl. I wish they were real carbon, but you could actually get these in carbon fiber now. You couldn't back when I did this, but anyhow, don't matter. These are going to get painted. So I'm actually not even sure what all these actually going to do paint-wise. I just know we're doing a custom paint job. I gave them my color preferences, and okay, make it look badass. It's kind of like, you know, going to a tattoo artist. If they're really good and they're an artist, you basically, hey, let me give you some guidelines of what I want, and I want you to draw me up the most badass thing you can think up, because I want it to be cool. And yeah, if that's what you do for a living, I'm not going to question your talents and what you do. That's not my area. But this stuff is my area. So that guy comes off. Go pop the other side off. Yeah, another cool thing is, like, so this is actually a front wheel for like a 2003 Buell with an adapter kit to be able to run it as a rear wheel. That's actually a 6-piston front brake caliper for a Hayabusa. Plenty of stopping power. These rear shocks, those are off of a Kawasaki ZRX 1200R. So I've got a lot of sport bike stuff on this thing because it's fast, and it's not hard to make Harleys fast, believe it or not. Out of the box, they're not fast. You know, every sport bike guy who sees this, oh, this guy's full of crap, man. Harleys are slow. Yeah, all right, whatever, dude. But anyways, this one scoots along pretty freaking good, but I needed it to stop and handle, which is why it's got sport bike, suspension, brakes, wheels, and tires, because that's the stuff we needed. Heck, the last time this thing was on the dyno, it made 100 horsepower and 98 foot-pounds of torque out of an 80 cubic inch Evolution motor. So in the Harley world, that's actually pretty damn impressive, because I know guys with 103 cubic inch twin cams and stuff that aren't making 100 horsepower. So that's going to come down to, you know, preferences and whatnot. Me personally, I mean, I've got a twin cam 103 Dyna, and I really enjoy that bike because it is so comfortable and it's deadly reliable. You just hit the button and go. Fuel injection is, man, is it nice. But this here, just the raw nature of it wants to kill you that it has about it. Yeah, I guess the best way to compare would be like driving a modern Hellcat. Like, those things are just awesome cars. But if you get in, like, you know, an 900 horsepower 1970 Challenger, yeah, I know the new one's faster, but the thing is, the other one is so raw, and it doesn't handle as good, and it doesn't stop as good. And in general, well, you just kind of feel like you're gonna die. And that's the appeal of it. You know, it's like riding one of the wooden roller coasters like they have at the Santa Cruz Beach Boardwalk out in California. Or at least they used to. I don't know if it's still there. But that's the appeal of it. It's terrifying. But anyways, that's what I love about it. You know, it's comparatively, it's like an old school muscle car versus the modern. And that's what I like about it. But this one here, I've got 2003 Yamaha R1 forks on it that have been stretched. Got the R1 brakes, front wheel, still running sport bike tires on it, all that good stuff. It's got a Baker drop-in kit, so it's all forged stuff. I don't know, it's the regular 5-speed, but it's a newer one from Baker. I've got forged steel shift forks in there from Baker, their shift drum that's in it. It's got a BDL belt drive on it, Andrews EV51 cam. It's been port and polished. It's got 10-to-1 compression pistons in it. I got these really badass billet aluminum pushrod tubes that they stopped making in like the early 2000s. This is the only set of these pushrod tubes for an Evo motor I have ever seen, because they kind of quit making them. They went out of style right about when the Evo motor had come out, and you just don't see them. Like, I think I saw one other set of them on a forum that somebody had, and I know he sold them for a pretty penny. They're hard to come by. But the main reason why I wanted a set of these, and it took me about 5 years to find those, is because my dad has a set on his pan head, which I think just look just so tough. I love the looks of them. And yeah, I've just been looking everywhere trying to find them, and I finally found a set. So they're out there, but they're not easy to come by. So anyhow, side panels off, seats off. I think I'm going to pull the fairing off next. The front fender I'll leave on for now because I have a different fender. It's the same R1 fender that is in better shape than that one anyway, so I'll have him paint that one and I'll swap them out later when it's all done. So yeah, what hardware do I need? Yeah, to pull these 4 here, pull the windshield. All right, I'll grab some tools and I'll reposition the camera here. All right, so off camera, I went on ahead, broke all these bolts loose, make it a little bit easier, just because it's, yeah, trying to work with the camera and turn wrenches can be a little cumbersome, which I am quickly learning. Anyways, this is not a real Memphis Shades quarter fairing, but it's one of the eBay replicas of the old Dyna T-Sport fairing, and they are incredibly simple. And they're, again, it's just a clone of the Harley one, so. But anyhow, they're not half bad. I've had this one on here for several years, haven't had any issues out of it or cracking or anything quality-wise, so. Heck, even the gloss black paint that was on it from the manufacturer has been holding up pretty good. This thing been all over the frickin' place, and I may potentially ride this thing to Sturgis this year, so, which ought to be interesting. I got to work up a different setup for my fuel tank, whether it be padding or something like that, because I'm sure a few of you may have noticed that I've got this rubbery grip tape looking stuff all over my gas tank, and that is for Otis. Here's my little buddy down here. He actually rides just about everywhere with me. I jokingly tell people, like, well, the only place he doesn't go with me is jail. So, he rides regularly. But anyways, that grip stuff is he'll sit in my lap, and that's something for his front paws to get some grip on and dig his claws into and hang on. And, yeah, he's been riding with me his entire life. He's about 2.5 years old now. Alright, I think that is all of that. I should be able to just slide this thing off with a little bit of persuasion. Watch me shake this thing around enough to drop the camera. Oh, there's one side off. But anyhow, yeah, back to the dog, the star of the show. Yeah, I'm trying to figure up some means of, like, you see the people that do like the big goofy looking sheepskin seat covers and stuff like that for padding and whatnot with the long trips. I'm going to try to make something like that to go on the fuel tank for them, or, you know, maybe some kind of big memory foam pad that's wrapped nicely that'll strap to the tank. Man, that thing is ugly with all that stuff off. Yeah, so I can actually see what the camera sees. But anyhow, yeah, this stuff. This is the same stuff you put on like paddle boards and fishing boats and stuff, which it does pretty darn good. It's kind of grippy. But yeah, I've got this on the tanks of all of my bikes. I'm going to be taking this off. But I need to make some kind of cover to protect it since it's getting a nice paint job. That obviously it's going to stop him from scratching up the tank, and also something for him to grip. So, but we'll get to that a little bit later. Okay, so front's off, side covers are off, seats off. I guess I'm going to grab the stuff I need to drain the fuel tank, because we need to get all that out of there. I need to get the dash off, get the crossover line off, the fuel feed line off. Then I can pop that guy off and it's pretty much ready to go, other than all the stuff he's got to do masking wise. So yeah, I'm going to put the camera down, grab gas can, lines, all that stuff I need to do to drain this. Alright, so since I'm running an SNS carburetor, my fuel line pickup is down here. So I take that off, pull my fuel line, and gone ahead and run it into a gas can I got on the other side of the bike. And I can just turn the fuel on and let it drain. A lot of the earlier or factory Harley-Davidson carburetors, or the petcock I should say, it has a vacuum operated petcock. So it's got like a, even though you turn the fuel on, it doesn't actually turn on until it sees engine vacuum. There's a little diaphragm inside of it. So if you have one of those style petcocks, this isn't going to work, because even though you turn the fuel on to drain it, it's not going to drain. I want to say some of them have like a different position on it that bypasses it. But I think I remember seeing those on metric bikes. I'm not sure if any of the Harleys had them. I don't remember. All of mine have got Pingle petcocks on them, which are much bigger, high flow ones, because the factory one will not move enough fuel for this motor the way I've got it juiced up. So, do some wiggling around to get that line to break loose. Which I'm probably going to spill gas everywhere. But anyways, nonetheless, it needs to come off. There. Pull off my awesome aluminum dirt bike cap. You can actually find these guys on eBay. They're freaking cool looking. Anyways, I just like dirt bike stuff, so I got dirt bike pegs and stuff. I grew up racing dirt bikes. So, growing up on dirt bikes, I might as well keep that theme. It's where I feel comfortable and at home. That one unplugs, that one unplugs. Come on. Relatively simple, except I do have one, which is the sender wire for the gauge, for my fuel gauge. And that is actually bolted to the sending unit, so I'm going to have to go find a socket real quick for that. So take that guy off. Almost there. Okay, so I thought it was done draining, but it's still got a little bit going on there. So anyways, ground wire's off up there, vent line's taken off of there. I got one bolt up there, which those ones, that front mount on the tank is actually slotted. So you don't have to take the bolt completely out, just got to break it loose and the tank will slide towards the back of the bike and lift off. But I got to wait for this damn thing to quit draining so I can take that little looped crossover line up there off, which is this little guy here. I've just got one little clamp there. But I need to get all the fuel out before I pull that, so it doesn't just dump fuel all over the cylinder head. So, yeah, that's where I'm at with that. Yeah, I'll reposition here, pull that front bolt out, and continue to wait as it does its thing. Work faster, gravity. Anyhow. Set you guys up here. Maybe, kinda. What's it look like? It looks terrible. Is there something on the lens? I don't know. Anyways. Well, I guess the next step here, while that's still draining, because that's almost ready to come off other than the other crossover tube, is the back fender. Back fender is kind of a bit more work because all of those bolts need to come out, which it shares one for the shock, which actually I think it has a nut on the back side, but I'm still going to support the weight of the bike before I go and pull that, because yeah, it's the last thing I need is this thing to like twist and some way the shock push out and it drop down in a weird angle. And yeah, so I'm just going to support the ass end before I go and take that stuff off, just in case. So yeah, I drag my cord around because now I have a corded GoPro. And then I'll go grab the other little small lift to go on the back over here. Okay, now that I got that sorted out, and the gas can will stay with the bike, I'll take the weight off this back tire now. And there we go. I don't want to raise it up completely, I just want to take the weight off so the shock is at full droop, so once I take it all off, it doesn't have any pressure on it up or down. But anyhow, as I was stating before, this video is probably getting a little bit on the long side, so I think I'm going to cut it right here and kind of turn this into a two-parter here, which I'm probably going to edit it all and put it all up the same night. So that way for people who have the time, maybe you check out the first part, then check out the second half. If you're bored out of your mind on the first half, well, you don't have to worry about watching the second half. So yeah, catch you on the next one.